Through my experience, I believe that elimination of child labor is possible.
And we believe and are very convinced that we will be able to achieve that.
It is very important for children to be in school because they are the future leaders of this country as a whole. If they are not there, the country is like collapse.
Worldwide, there are 168 million children who are in child labor.
This is a really big problem, and the problem remains like that.
My name is Enoch Nate. I am 50 years old. I've been working here about 3 years now.
Child labor deprives children of the most fundamental right to education and also exposes them to exploitation.
My name is Nana Kojo. I am 13 years old. I've been working with the fishermen about 1 year now. I don't go to school.
They are working in factories around us, in houses.
In the fishing industry, they are made to work on farms like cocoa farms.
Parents send their children to the market to do all sorts of things.
Everywhere they are. These children are everywhere.
These children are not supposed to be working at this time. They were supposed to be in class learning.
Children who are made to do child labor are denied the right to childhood and therefore the right to a better future.
The exploitation of 168 million children goes against international agreements that state that the minimum age for labor is not allowed to be lower than the age where compulsory education finishes. This is 15 years of age and in some countries 14 years. The current situation also goes against the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, a treaty that has been accepted by almost every country.
This particular agreement describes commitment by several states to ensure that children get quality education, are not economically exploited, and are not involved in dangerous work.
Despite these formal agreements, child labor is still a huge global issue.
Some people still believe that child labor is a necessary evil.
People believe that child labor exists because of poverty and families will not cope without child labor.
But the opposite is true. Child labor actually perpetuates poverty.
Because children are easy to exploit and are cheap laborers, they are hired in preference to adults. Child labor thus leads to lower wages and higher unemployment among adults.
Let parents make money and let children learn. Let parents earn and let children learn.
When they don't go to school, obviously, the area will remain undeveloped because in the future we shall not have the doctors, we shall not have the engineers.
Experience shows that not poverty, but entrenched beliefs, social injustice, and lack of political will sustain child labor. Therefore, child labor is not an inevitable fact of life, but rather a problem that has a solution requiring concerted action. This solution can be found in an area-based approach against all forms of child labor by creating so-called child labor-free zones.
A child labor-free zone is an area where no child goes to work.
In a child labor-free zone, every member of the community believes that no child is at work, every child must go to school.
The approach involves social mobilization, awareness raising, and advocacy.
For a long time, I was not going to school. One day, we met a woman. The woman asked my parents why they didn't send me to school.
All partners, in that case government, employers, workers, civil society organizations, parents, and even the children themselves must work towards eliminating child labor in the society.
the idea that it is normal for a child to work should be replaced by child labor in whatever form is unacceptable. In this way, everyone is motivated and prepared to work together to get the children into school and keep them there.
It is our mandate as government to ensure that all children are in school, that all children go to school and no child is engaged in labor.
The best farmer in the world is the educated farmer. And therefore, let us make sure that we send our children to school. Education is key to our development.
Because of this program, the parents have seen it as a responsibility to bring their children to school.
For a long time, I was using my children, and they were helping me for the farm. And for now, I have just stopped. I've let them go into school.
We are going to sensitize the parents, tell them the dangers. We are going to sensitize even the children themselves.
I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a lawyer.
I want to become a teacher in future because the woman who brought me to school is a teacher.
The child labor-free zones worked because of the area-based approach against all forms of child labor.
When everyone works together and mindsets are changed, the rights of all children can be realized.
I have seen it, it works. I have been involved, I have initiated, and we have seen children who used to go to labor now being placed into education and no more labor.
It seems this approach has worked out very, very well.
We think that this concept will help us to produce a best practice or a model that will then enable us to replicate this model to the rest of the country.
We have seen it, we have practiced it, it can be done everywhere.
I am happy to be in school because now I can count, I can read, and I can write.
I am learning to be a teacher so that some can come and learn something from me.
Worldwide, child labor-free zones are rising and growing. However, there is still a long way to go, and there are more child labor-free zones to establish.
We will continue to look at those that are still working so that we can also bring them into school.
If I get the opportunity, I'll stop this fishing work and I'll go to school, and in future I'll turn a driver.
I hope I'll get help so that I can stop coming here and go to school full time and concentrate on my school activities so that I can become an engineer in future.
In child labor-free zones, everyone is now better off because the children are in school and they have a brighter future.
So I'm happy that next 10, 15 years, we will see these children to be future leaders, and I'm happy to see young children in school.
Let's work together to eliminate child labor and give children, their parents, and the whole community a better future.
can stop child labor. If we find as one, we can stop child labor. If we find as one, we can stop child labor. If we stand as one, we can stop child labor. If we stand as one, we can stop child labor. If we unite as one, we can stop child labor. If we unite as one, we can stop child labor. All children have to go to school to learn. All children have to go to school to learn. Their future is in education.